Guys, Clem versus Zoun. Bottom right side, red Terran player fighting for Team Liquid. He is the Frenchman. Bring your baguettes because it is. I was too early, wasn't I? It is. Mapu? Did he fall asleep at the wheel?
It's Mapu.
Clem!
Wait, Mapu's playing, spawning in the top left-hand corner. The blue Protoss playing for the home team, Alvex. This is Zoun. Oh, Mapu. Oh, Mapu. Mapu also, by the way, we do need to take a brief moment, of course. We have just outstanding crew that are working all facets of this event. Of course, Mapu doing all of the observing for our main stream for the entirety of this event, not only the main event, but the qualifiers as well. He's put in some very long days. Please give this man some love. He does an outstanding job. I think he is often an unsung hero in the StarCraft 2 scene. Even though he gets a lot of praise, I feel like we could always give him more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been putting in a lot of hours. He's been giving us all the great action, of course, showing us all that we need for this tournament, and it's greatly appreciated. He's a pro. He's a real gosh darn pro, working around the clock to make everything happen for us, and you know what? Absolutely lovely. A lovely guy overall. And well, I mean, here again, showing us that there is an engineering bait block coming down for Clem. So Clem, you know, making life a little bit more difficult here for Zoun. Zoun is gonna have to pull those probes, making even a zealot over here as well, right? In case he needed to, perhaps to shut that engineering bay down a little bit earlier. But overall, behind this, we're not seeing Clem take the initiative in the form of a command center. He's actually going for the factory together with the reactor. Now, this has been a little bit more standard for Terrans overall recently, right? Just get yourself those Hellions out a little bit quicker. Allows you to search the map for potential proxies with those earlier Hellions, perhaps, or even, you know what, get that damage done, of course. A starport should be created right here. There we go.
Oh. Well, you were seeing into the future there for Nostrakozan right there.
I mean, that's an obvious one.
Well, okay. So, actually
my God, you're
doesn't
joking!
see it. How? How is that not a scout, especially from the high ground? That is bonkers.
Oh, that was so close. Zoun, that is not a good sign. I mean, I hope that... Okay, there we go. He does get the scout now. Manages to shut it down as well. And oh my dear Lord, that is devastating. That starport right there, that is going to be a rough one. It will not be completed for a long time. And those Hellions may want to try and figure out a new way in. And this starport over here already with the two Hellions, that is such a clear sign now for Zoun as what is coming.
That felt almost like a karma balancer right there, where it's like, oh wait, yeah. The game was like, wait, how did that not get scouted? Okay, well, we'll just let the worker get killed. Okay, everything balanced as it should. So these Hellions were going to try and find their way into the natural, but there is going to be an adept holding the door, at least for now. Wouldn't be surprised to see the pylon block go down, but it's not going to be fast enough, so all of these workers are going to be exposed. No. And look at that beautiful line right there, Kozan. There's going to be a lot of damage here as these are going to go relatively untouched for a brief amount of time.
Oh, he went for a Phoenix just as well. If he had an Oracle here, he would have been able to shut this down a little bit earlier, but instead, the Hellion being able to pick off quite a bit here. One more Hellion remains. May still be able to get another... Okay, yeah, just one more shot. And immediately following us up with the Widowmine drop. This is... You know what? Overall, a great opening here for Zoun, considering how it all started, right? With that starport getting scouted, being shut down, still being able to pick up that amount of workers. You're not going to be too upset about that, being Clem.
No. I think this is all pretty decent damage, all things considered. Then this is going to be more just delayed economic damage here. As this mine to be so patient. Oh, Jean looks at that and goes, wait a minute, I can't repopulate that line just yet. Now, finally, these Phoenix will be able to lift that off. But that's a couple more seconds here of delayed mining, Kozan. I mean, that's going to be good for Clem, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, he's so great at just... you know, doing this type of stuff, right? He is a very quick player. He is one of these players that manages to just do this type of stuff and then is still in between, go back at his home base, put down another bunker, put guys on gas or whatever he needs to do, and then just go back again and be like, all right, yeah, I'm just continuing the burrow and burrow and burrow and make life an absolute hell for the Protoss players. This is how he ekes out the efficiency. This is how he manages to win so many games. It's because of tiny little micro things like that at the start of the games, while doing absolutely everything at home still pretty much flawlessly as well.
So we're going to see Clem continue to double down on his strong opening here as he does start getting into those bio upgrades, seeing stim pack go down, +1 weapons for his bio on the way as well. But Zoun getting into an okay position himself. He hasn't taken his third Nexus just yet, but getting that robotics facility and continuing to try and own the airspace with those Phoenix, getting some good scouting information and hopefully trying to hold Clem back at home, but I don't think that's going to happen for long here. I mean, that army count is rather high, 39 to 15. That's a scary number.
Yeah, I mean, indeed it is. That is in particularly, you know, an overall boosted in a way, right, as well, because we have the army supply for Zoun being in those Phoenixes, and they don't do all that swell against Marines and Cyclones coming across the map here. I mean, shield battery, you're gonna have to prove your weight here right now, because you are gonna have to well, perform a miracle pretty much almost at this moment in time. I feel we're gonna have to wait and see. We know that Zoun has some great micro. He's gonna have to bring it all right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to try and micro against this. These Phoenix are trying to get on top of that tank, but the Marine's able to stutter step back and prevent that lift from happening freely. A little bit of damage out on those medevacs is not going to be enough, though, as those Phoenix do finally get cleaned up. And now we're starting to see Clem push forward here. This wall is going to come down. Zoun just does not have anything to deal with this mass amount of bio, and that Colossus is just taking its sweet time to come out. It's going to come out eventually, but I think there's going to be too much damage done before that.
It's going to come out and think like, oh my dear lord, what have you guys done while I wasn't here? What happened? What kind of house party did you guys give to make everything go into disarray? Immediately gunned down, GG. Oh, that was abysmal right there for Zoun. I mean, so many, like, it was a great start for him, to be fair, but then ultimately everything just fell apart as quickly as it kind of went his favor. It went out of his favor again immediately.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to eat my words here more than likely. I'm going to hold off one more game before I wander down that trail and start going, well, you know, I thought Clem was going to be the underdog here. But no, we're going to wait one more game. I still believe in our Protoss player, but Clem doing a very nice job of keeping Zoun on his back foot, keeping him back in his base, and not allowing him to really get any of the forward aggression in that game number 1. So we will see map number 2 coming up here very shortly. I mean, are we on a path here, Kozan, for an all Terran semifinals and finals? Like, how crazy is that?
It's a little bit early to say, but you know what? The two stories laid in front of us right now, I feel like, are the one of the lone Protoss versus all the Terrans, right? The Terrans fighting for dominance underneath, well, in between one another as well, but at the same time, either the lone Protoss will be moving forwards here, or the lone European, right? Another story right there, the Frenchman. Both of which can be absolutely fantastic. Overall, I wouldn't be upset with either of these players. I know that both of them very much capable of taking games off of these other players that are still in the tournament. But yeah, which one will be able to take the lead right now? And it's looking rather sweet for Clem, of course, after game number 1. But then, to be fair, let's make this case, right? For Zoun, we did see that those Hellions in the early part getting so much value, getting so many SCV or pro kills, and it does skew with the numbers a little bit for the later parts of the game as well, right? But oh well, just being able to get in. Anyway, the next game here, Pillars of Gold. In the top right side, from Team Liquid, it's the Frenchman. Will he be able to get himself in the PvT extravaganza of the year? It will be Clem.
And spawning in the bottom left, our blue Protoss player. Playing for Alpha X. This is Zoun.
Was a lot quicker with this one, wasn't he? Trying to throw the tempo off right now, Mapu. Exactly. Keeping us sharp, keeping us warmed up with the, you know, the quick decision making for us casters. Being like, all right, is it time for his name calling? Oh yeah, it is, and then jumping on the ball.
Oh, I think I had a brief conversation with one of our admins, Lady Azalis, in between series, and it seemed like Mapu was having some issues with his observation panel, and some things were a little goofy. So he might have been just fixing a couple of settings on his side before we jumped all the way in. So more than likely, probably what that was. But I like the narration of Mapu trying to keep us on our toes too. I think that's definitely more fun, and it definitely
very
doesn't lead
considerate.
into. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't have to talk about that he's maybe experiencing some technical issues, but even if he is, like, holy cow, like, we definitely don't even see it. So it's definitely a consummate professional. Our good friend Mapu is, and of course our admin as well. I'll try and at least in all of these games now do the nice little circuit of all of the wonderful people making sure things run smoothly here. Vitamin has usually been our lobby host for all of these games, but Lady Azla stepping in today and making these games just go by just super quick. And that's one thing that we've gotten a lot of comments about from people, and we really do appreciate that you like the fast flow of these games. That is largely in part to our amazing admin team.
Yeah, they have really been continuously performing as much as we need them to, if not more. Providing everybody with information, providing everybody with the clean feeds and all of that good stuff. And yeah, much appreciated. Very, very good stuff overall. You know what? Overall, the StarCraft 2 community is filled with people that are just smart people, right? Always capable of helping out these types of things. And oh my, this Reaper actually in quite a bit of trouble. The nade needs to be good, but not good enough. Goes down very quickly. Doesn't get the scout as he would like it to go. He's gonna have to think of some way else. You know, maybe spend some energy for a scan or something if he really wants to figure out what Zoun is doing. But Zoun, wait, actually, did he already see it marching up the ramp? He may have actually. Come to think about it. I'm not sure if he went up the ramp far enough. But then again, I mean, Zoun's not doing anything all too weird for the time being, right? Going for the Twilight Council, most likely going to be Blink. We do see Zoun sometimes going for the Adept Glaives also, though. So I don't want to take that off the menu just quite yet. But yeah, right, there it is. There's the Blink, the more standard opening here for between those two.
So we do have things starting to boil up for at least a little bit of a timing here. We do have Blink on the way for Zoun as he is starting to set himself up for a better path in this game. Doing a nice job of blocking some of the scouting information of Clem at this point. So hopefully we'll be able to get that mitigated and solved as he tries to figure out what his opponent's doing. Doesn't want to burn a scan necessarily to try and get in there. Would much rather just use the Hellion at this point. And putting ourselves in position for a bit of a timing, more than likely a timing attack out of Zoun. He's getting that Warp Prism as well. We're probably going to see some of those Blink Stalkers moving across the map and getting rather aggressive.
Yeah, he's going up to, what is it, 4 gateways overall, so it's not completely committed. He would like to get maybe some units picked off, but it's not a ultimate thing that he needs to accomplish, right? He can off the back of this still go for a third Nexus. Most likely that's what we will see here coming down as well, but yeah, of course it would be fan-freaking-tastic to be able to pick up some of those units earlier on. Okay, Zoun being scouted on those third bases. Clem figuring out that there's no third base just quite yet. Already has his own third base on the way here, but we'll have to wait and see what these Stalkers will be able to achieve. Only a single siege tank so far, but the second one very close by. Thinking of top of the Marine right now. That is an interesting one as well. Okay, gunning down the SCVs right here. A lot of them already falling. 4 of them so far. Not a single Stalker did get picked off either. So nice bit of control for Zoun, gaining a bit of a slightly favorable trade, I would say. You know, not losing anything in comparison to Clem losing 4 SCVs in the Marine right there. But the main meat of this army of Clem is still alive. The bunker still stands. Okay, it does fall right now. But the Raven, the siege tanks, they're still up. And that is what the more important things here for Clem to keep alive for now. Okay, and we're seeing a quick War Prism follow-up, I do believe, with the Robotics Bay coming down as well. Most likely will be a, whatchamacallit, Disruptor drop, perhaps, follow-up here. We do see this sometimes from Zoun, so interesting to see this once more. And can provide a bit more overall pressure on Clem, especially if he does try to move out to a 3rd base, right? That main base suddenly will be a bit more exposed as soon as you move those forces down to the low ground. And yeah, Zoun here now also coming into the main base. No, the siege tank firing not quite far enough for this one. Rushy? I think you're doing some back end stuff, alright. Anyway. Probably busy with some important things. Anyway, it's going to be extended thermal lance and some Colossus as well. So no disruptor drops this time around. Colossus a very standard opening as well, of course. Or well, I say opening. A follow-up to the Blink Stalkers will be able to facilitate that. Extra AoE damage. The Stalkers here also trying to gain as much value as they possibly can. He backs up a little bit further. That 3rd base for Clem has been delayed quite a bit, though. It's been able to squeeze out a lot of SCVs. It's not been able to really keep the mining going on the 3rd base. And yeah, overall, I mean, that is just a bit of a bummer for Zoun, I suppose. Again here, as he's not looking all too sharp on the economy compared to Clem. He is well known for just being able to have more SCVs than a lot of other players. Oh, the Stalker's going for the Raven right there. Do manage to pick that up. That's a big pick-up, but how many Stalkers will he lose for this? Is that actually worth it? That's a lot of Stalkers that do go down. Now the Colossus will be a bit safer against the bio forces, I suppose, right? No interference matrix going to be taking place. But at the same time, they don't have as much overall meat in front of them anymore. Won't have as much of a guarding force being able to stop any type of encroaching bio forces to just stim right on top of those big laser giraffes. And here we go. Oh dear lord. That's a big fight. Massive siege tank shots already. Taking quite a good couple of hits in there. Zealots coming in for the 3rd and a natural base, trying to clean up those SCVs. They're still continuing that harassment. On the bottom side of things, we have the Colossi trying to just maintain some sense of normalcy here for the 3rd base. The siege tanks continuing to keep the pressure up on this 3rd base also. Looking to squeeze out as much efficiency as possible by denying mining on a couple of those mineral patches, denying mining from the gas there as well, of course. 9 probes go down with this pressure right here. Okay, the Zealots now committing, Stalkers blinking in front, and the siege tanks, they do all fall, so it does get cleaned up. A little bit of damage was still sustained by Zoun. I say a little bit, actually. Looking at the work account, still very good stuff overall for Clem. The army supply not looking all too bad either for him. As long as he doesn't lose these units on the retreating path, which I don't think he will, he should be absolutely A-okay. All right. We go, more things happening, of course. The Ghost Academy finishing up. Archons going to be added into the composition. More overall beef to be in front of those Colossi. Disruptors also coming in to play as well. Disruptors, I mean, it's just the thing about Clem, though. Clem is absolutely amazing at dodging those disruptor shots. I swear, he's the best player I've ever seen it do. And I'm not quite sure how much experience Zoun has against Clem. I mean, you kind of have to still make those disruptors, right? It is not impossible for you to hit those shots, especially considering we're on an NA server, right? It's a little bit more latency. So it becomes a bit more difficult for Clem to make it work in a sense, but still, even then, you do see him very often managing to just eke out that that micro right there and still make everything look very, very smooth. There we go. Another engagement disruptor from the back immediately jumped onto. Will not be able to make some magic happen there, unfortunately. That would have been a nice attempt, though, of course, but a bit of a Hail Mary there, perhaps. Would have been fantastic, but not quite working out. More disruptors do get picked off right there. As the Protoss army in a bit of trouble right here. Clem looking like he will be able to keep this pressure up for a little bit longer as more reinforcements are coming in. It's essential that Zoun manages to clean this up right here, right now, before the rest of the reinforcements come in, but he doesn't manage to do so. And I think we are reaching the point where Zoun will have to tap out, unfortunately, for game number 2 as well. Unless if we get massive disruptor shots, which really, really does not turn out to be the case. These Archons, you know what, they can only sustain so much firepower. The siege tanks targeting down the Colossi, the Ghost helping out a ton with the Marauders against those Stalkers and the Zealots here, being able to EMP and just snipe them down with some nice microwing backwards. Sound slowly but surely is whittling down the forces here, though. Oh, an all-right disruptor shot, maybe getting 2 Marauders and a Ghost there. A lot of the other stuff did get picked up as well, but ultimately things are looking rather dire for Zoun here still. Trying to equalize the trade here, and it's not looking fantastic. He just needs more disruptors to buy himself continuous time. Oh, Clem's so good at realizing when he can and cannot jump forward, moving right on top of that disruptor, just gunning it down instead of trying to micro backwards or trying to split. Finally, a bit of damage is achieved by the disruptor, but ultimately just more and more efficiency here being found by Clem. As now he jumps forward, and that is going to have to be it. GG is called. And there you have it. Zoun goes down for another game as Clem takes the second game as well, and not making it look all too difficult.
Well, here's what is difficult, because boy howdy have I had a fun 5 minutes. Also, can I do a nice little shout out to your solo cast right there? Man, that was pretty good. That was good stuff.
Okay.
Well, I'd just trying to work on figuring out what's giving us some issues. No, you're not experiencing something unique. Seems to be an issue on my internet. So what I need is everyone to just like channel all your extra bandwidth and just send it to the Central United States. So hopefully I can tap into it and get stuff ready to go. But thank you for being patient. Kozan did a nice job on the solo casting, and we're always proud of him. There's a reason why he's the head caster for Alpha X. But hopefully we do level a little bit. I'm still getting a lot of green, red, and yellow, and I apologize, folks. I've backed off my bitrate as much as I can to balance, but it might be a little bumpy, and if it is, I think that'll be just fine. I will be joining Kozan, my wonderful friend, for the duo cast once again. But nice. Thanks everyone for hanging tight. Hopefully my ISP will send me a little bit more internet speed here in the next couple of minutes. But we are going to be getting ready for our next match, and we're on the verge of Clem just moving this out 3-0. So I guess at this point, I'll eat my words, Kozan. Clem's just playing some really good StarCraft right now. Preparation, not an issue.
Sometimes I think his TVP might be his best matchup. Like, it is just nuts to see him play this matchup, and especially in the later parts of the game. Like, he wouldn't have minded going into the later parts there either. But yeah, just the micro against those disruptors, insanity every single time. Anyway, yeah, I mean, to be fair though to you, I am very happy that you're back as well, Rushy. I mean, having to do the production at the same time as casting and all that other stuff. It is quite a big ask, honestly. And you know what? I feel like you're doing a much better job than I am at it. So you know what? That is much appreciated. You know, it takes a lot of my plate, at least in a sense.
No, there's a reason why the best teams in the world have people that work together. So I'm absolutely happy to be a part of this. We'll get stuff figured out. I know you guys can spam your stream literally unwatchable meme all you want, but the good news is you don't have to watch. You don't have to try and keep track of 200 Zerglings pouring across the map at this point. So hey, there is all sorts of silver linings here. We are just. Oh, I think we got a lobby bug. That's no big deal. So now we're gonna get into a setup here for map number 3, where Zoun's gonna have to pull out something. I think he's gonna have to pull out something sneaky. He's clearly struggling to beat Clem head on in a normal matchup. Is it going to be something that we get early out of Zoun, or do you think it's just gonna be more of the same? You're gonna try and just run it back?
It's a tough call to make, right? Zoun, I would like to see him try to do something perhaps that we saw him do against Innovation, but then at the same time, that is probably what Clem saw as well, right? In the GSL. Some of the more obvious matches perhaps for him to be able to prepare for. It's a rough one, but then again, I mean, Lightshade. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, Zoun, to be fair, I think if he wants to beat Clem, he needs to do it in the earlier parts of the game, because his micro is too good. Clem's micro is nuts.
Alrighty, well, we're going to see if he can close it out here. Up 2-0, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade, our red Terran for Team Liquid. This is Clem.
The top left side, his opponents, the final bastion of hope for all the aliens out there. He's from Alpha X, the Blue Protoss, Zoun. One more remains to stand in front of the all-Terran semi-finals. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, Cure being able to take out Raynor and Serral. I mean, that may be the biggest thing in this tournament overall up until this moment. You know, just Cure being able to clean up those. I mean, the top ranking 1 and number 2, both of them, just like that. In best of 5s as well, right? Wasn't like in best of 3 where he did some cheesy stuff. No, get out of here with your cheesy stuff. He did, well, I mean, he was very aggressive, to be fair, but on the back foot, he was macroing upwards, getting ready for that late game. We saw the ultimate late game even at one point, being able to eke it out with a single Thor and like 3 Hellions in total, and managing to secure that first victory right there. Who knows what it would have gone differently if that one did go into favor for Serral. But anyway, my dear God. Another little bit of a block here. 3 probes do get pulled once more. Trying to maintain a very low HP bar on that engineering base. So not too much of a delay overall, but still, of course, a little bit frustrating for Zoun to deal with right there.
Yeah, anytime you're going to get delayed at this point is just frustrating. I think that's the absolute right word. It's frustrating. It's going to throw you off your build order. Now all of your things are going to line up a couple seconds late, and that's going to cost you a couple of units. And at the level that these players play, that costs a lot. Now all of a sudden you're expecting to have 5 stalkers in an engagement. Now suddenly you only have 4, and that does make a difference in those fine-tuned numbers. A lot of us that play the game at a much lower level, that might not be that big of a deal, but at this point, absolutely every piece counts, and getting little wins like that for Clem adds up down the road where he can get on top of his opponent a little bit quicker and a little bit more aggressive. And it seems like we're going to see Zoun go down a similar path once again. He's getting that early Stargate.
Yeah. I like the Stargate opening. You know, I wouldn't have minded perhaps if he does try to do it across the field as well. Though, you know what, Clem may be able to deal with that type of stuff as well very easily. It's hard to say, but anyway, we'll have to wait to see what he goes for, right? Is he going to go for the Phoenix, the Oracle? maybe even the Void Ray, right? This is the player that we saw. It's suddenly throwing that out there in the GSL and making it work against Innovation. But it will be the Phoenix once again. So it looks like once more he is planning to be a bit more defensive. And overall, you know, the Phoenix control for Zoun, it is very, very strong. He is this is the one thing I keep praising Zoun for, is his control. He's very, very capable of continuously providing all sorts of micro to all sorts of units absolutely everywhere. So the Phoenix is, because of this, I feel like it's a great choice for him. As long as he doesn't lose to just a bunch of Hellions again running into his main base, I think he can make this work very nicely. Especially since it's unscouted, right?
Yeah, I think the lack of scouting will aid in that defense, but I mean, this is what he's been doing for the last couple of games, so it is possible that this would, even though it's not officially scouted, it could be just lingering in the back of his mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he did go for the Stalker opening the previous game when you did have to
that's
quickly
fair.
jump on all the production. To be fair, so
that's fair. I won't claim to be an expert on game number 2. That's for sure.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, it's it could still very well be on the mind of Clem after game number 1 as well, of course. Clem going for the Widowmine drops here. It looks like already having Stim available, also going for that double Rex opening here. So he's gonna have a lot of these Mariners ready to facilitate quite a bit of firepower together with those Widowmines. Wondering if he's gonna keep some of it at home as well. No, he's just gonna send everything across the fields. And you know what's smart in a way is that he's not putting it into the Medivacs at the moment, because, well, there's the Phoenixes on the fields, right? So not sure if he knew about that, but maybe he just thought about the possibility of that being there.
Well, this is going to be an interesting transition point here for Zoun, because Zoun is getting that third base out. He's invested a lot into his workers and not as much into his army. So now Clem's going to show up with this large Marine force. He's got a couple of mines to help Zoun as well. And this is now going to become a bit of an awkward situation that Nexus is exposed. But Clem doesn't want to stick around. He's going to see if he can maybe bait those Phoenix into that mine. Nah, not going to happen here. That Observer will be able to come and get those picked off. So this will be mitigated damage. Good for Zoun so far. He gets that Robotics Bay on the way, a couple of gateways as well. And now we'll probably start seeing Zoun transition into something just a little bit more aggressive now that he's got a worker count and that third base that he feels comfortable with.
Yeah, that was a very very well respecting to your opponent move in a sense, right? Not trying to get as much damage on this Nexus as possible, just kind of being like, all right, well, okay, I got a sentry there. I kind of know what you're doing right now. You got an all right army composition. I don't want to lose this stuff unnecessarily. Maybe just use these Widowmines right now to facilitate a way out of here, and then, you know what, just manage to escape with most of my other stuff. And yeah, not overstaying is welcome. It's going to now be able to come in here again, right, with more Marines, more Marauders ready to help out. At the same time, though, Zoun is going to be a little bit more prepared also.
All right. Clem lining up once again. He wants to stay aggressive on his opponent, and it's honestly the smart choice because the AoE damage of Zoun is still rather low, so he's going to try and push up in here, see if he can get a good look at this. Going to scan ahead and see that there's only one Colossus in the mix right now. A second one is just about to hit the field, though, so Clem is going to have to be careful, and now that second one actually pops almost at the perfect time. Some good mine connections onto the center of that army, but once again, those Colossi still able to get a lot of work done. A second mine shot getting on top of a lot of those Phoenix does soften up a good chunk of that army, but now we have a big mine drop up in the main base, only connecting with 5 of those probes, so all things considered, not in a terrible position for Zoun in that defense, able to hold on at least for now.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse indeed. A little bit unfortunate. I think he may have lost his Observer there in that moment when the Phoenixes also were above the Widowmine right there. So it made it a bit more difficult to spot everything right now. And these Marines just squeezing their way in. The Colossus are not here right now, nor are the Gateway forces. They are still at that third base. Clem, how much is he gonna find actually? Well, no, not too much actually.
Man, I think he got a lot less damage done than he probably could have, but did not want to overcommit at that point. So he was happy with what he got, grabbed a couple of those pylons, and then just immediately zipped on out. But look at Zoun continuing to hold on to that income advantage. Clem's getting some good plays, but he hasn't really dealt any blows to the economy just yet. And it seems as if he's not in a position to quite do so, but a couple more moves like that, I think he could be a little more aggressive, and he might find himself on the delivering end of a pretty strong blow. But the army's going to be a little bit better positioned here for Zoun on the lower left-hand side. And I love the patrol of those Phoenix up by the main base as well. Zoun trying to do everything he can to make sure Clem doesn't just jump into his main base on scout.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, looking at the worker count right now, Zoun is dropping behind in the income as that third base for Clem has managed to secure itself a nice spot to mine, and overall the army of Clem as well also looking rather intimidating, especially with those ghosts coming up right now. It seems like things can get a little bit dicey. Look at the Viking numbers also, very important to note. Going to be able to really facilitate quite a bit of poke damage against those Colossi. The Colossi right now trying to get an engagement here, but beautiful micro backwards, avoiding the shots of those lasers for a really long time and just gunning down the Zealots one by one. And now, without too much of a gateway force here, those Colossi need to start reconsidering their options. Just overall, those Zealots a bit overzealous, trying to commit there into that fight without the Colossi providing a lot of firepower at the same time.
Yeah, not really a good engagement there for Zoun. Clem a little strong on his stutter step micro to keep everything alive, and Zoun wasn't able to stick around. He didn't want to immediately throw away all of those Immortals, Archons, and Colossi that he had. He could have gotten a little bit of worker damage done, but for the cost of what it would have been, it was not worth it. And so as a result of that, he does have to back off and tosses away a lot of his army supply. But now look at the balance here, 105 to 87. Clem still sitting pretty close on that worker count. Mules will be able to iron that out. But now we're getting more ghosts out onto the field, 3 at a time, all things considered. And we're getting that advanced shockwaves on the way as well. So now all of those shield-dependent units are going to be less effective down the road.
Yeah, for sure. And once again, we're seeing the disruptors coming into play, right? I've hammered on about this the previous, I don't know how many minutes or hours it's been, but anyway, I always worry. I always worry when I see the Protoss trying to commit for the disruptors versus Clem. It is a very, very tough thing, and of course that's when he loses a Ghost and a couple of Marines. It could have been a lot worse, right? But overall, getting a bit of value there. Let's see. Yeah, gets gunned down again. Nice pull backwards down the right side. Clem not gonna let up so easily though. Will stem forward a small cluster of those Marine Marauders. Force Shields holding it back though a little bit there. And again, a nice split there from Clem.
Look at those beautiful splits. I mean, just absolutely well executed there. And unfortunately for Zoun, he's tossing away almost all of those disruptors. Okay, so finally landing one good disruptor shot, but 1 out of 4 or 5 is not gonna cut it. So now Zoun backed up at his 4th base. He's kind of got it back to the wall. That battery overcharge immediately getting used, so that will help in that defense, but right now, Clem has been able to pick off a lot of those disruptors, getting rid of that counterplay to his army composition right now. And now he's getting 2-2 on the way. Zoun is in a bit of trouble. He's got a worker lead, but Clem right now has control of the game, and he's continuing to push forward.
Yeah, War Prism speed is on the way. Perhaps Zoun will be able to get some sort of aggression going on the other side there. There are the Zealots already coming in. And yeah, catching Clem on the back foot will move backwards right now. This is one of the reasons why I hardly ever see Clem really getting hit by disruptors, because he doesn't keep his army stationary or moving forwards if he does have to look back at his own base. Anyway, here we go again. Oh, an alright hit there. A little bit of the front line does get picked off, but I'm not quite sure if Clem has enough to really break the frontal Zoun here. Still a good amount of disruptors available. They need to start using those as shots, though. They need to get on top of some of these units. But
yeah, but look at all the shields, Kozan. All of those shields are completely shredded here, so these Bioforces feel comfortable enough to stim on forward. But Zoun, with those shield batteries, do manage to hold at this point. And we find ourselves with Zoun trying to push out, but he cannot overextend. Clem will make him punish with the Reforce.
Actually, the work account for Clem here, not all that impressive at the moment. He did lose a big portion of his forces there. Like, one of the main things about disruptors as well is you don't always have to do damage with the disruptors itself, right? You can also rely more so on the Colossi on the back foot. Every time Clem comes forward, he gets a couple of shots maybe on the front line, but at the same time, those Colossi manage to get 2, maybe 3 sweeps, and then you have to move backwards again. And you come in again, and Colossi back at it. You need to move backwards because more disruptor shots come in, and ultimately, slowly but surely, you're gonna lose your bio forces that way, even without being hit by the disruptor shots. Clem here trying a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a desperation move, but it did feel a little bit like it. Making some headway here, Zoun is for sure, and as long as he can keep the work account for Clem here on the back foot, as long as he can keep trading efficiently right now, he should be able to get himself in a very, very good position here. He's already in pretty much the best position he's been at this entire series, right?
He's in an okay spot right now, for sure. Zoun is pushing back, though. He's got that army lead, but oh no, these units are going to get sandwiched just a little bit here. Not going to be as effective, but Zoun is going to be able to secure that out, and we might be seeing a little bit of a reverse sweep here. GG is called. Zoun playing a much stronger game, number 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice game there from Zoun, honestly. Being able to, you know what, not land as many disruptor shots, but being able to prolong the engagement there from Clem as well. I mean, it's really cool to see these two players, which both of which I commend for their micro capabilities, and going head to head in these types of situations, right? The disruptors. I mean, it's not only important to try and land your shots. It's also very, it can be quite difficult for Protoss to get those shots out there and then control the rest of your army at the same time without just letting those disruptors move forwards, like, you know, some useless toaster or something that just is a little bit suicidal in a sense, right? You need to be careful of all of that type of stuff, and Zoun being able to maintain his disruptor number, being able to keep pressuring Clem backwards at the right time, and Clem, even though he avoided those shots, those disruptor shots, still taking a lot of poke in a little, well, a fairly small choke, right? Could have been smaller, could have been bigger, but overall still a choke with this bio not quite being able to spread out as much as they would like to. Right. Game number 4.
Oh my goodness. So much happening here. Imagine having hot takes like the ones that are being dished out today. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. Up 2-1, still on match point. Our Red Terran player for Team Liquid. This is Clem.
In the top left side, we have ourselves a blue Protoss player fighting for Alpha X. He is Zoun. Being able to get a point on the board here, and we'll have to wait and see if this is somewhat of a place where he will be able to mount the comeback from right now.
So Romanticide is kind of a fun map. I don't know. I'm trying to think how many TVPs we've seen on this map so far in this tournament, and unfortunately, my mind continues to look at the colored square in my OBS, and I'm forgetting a lot of things that I should know. But I think it's interesting to see where these players are going to go in this game number 4, where Clem's got an opportunity to close this out, but Zoun could still go into that nice standard play and just make a repeat here in his game of his game number 3 performance. That quick, easy third base is really, really close by. It wouldn't be surprising to see that utilized here in this match.
Yeah. No engineering babe look, by the way, this time around as well. So, interesting mix-up. There is still an SCV coming across the field, but with smaller aspirations as the predecessors that came before him. Right, probe from Zoun actually coming back as well. You're like, wait a moment, wait a moment. Did my eyes deceive me, or was that not a red probe? In fact, it was an SCV trying to come in there. And yeah, I mean, we're seeing again a fairly quick factory overall here for Clem, but he is going to go for the command center first as well. So Clem trying to play it a little bit more on the economy side of things, right? Less relying upon the early game micro and kind of the early game shenanigans, perhaps.
Well, Clem's thinking about it. He's off on the left-hand side here. More than likely going to see that proxy starport go down, and there it does. We have a Twilight Council on the way for Zoun as well, and he's going to be able to do a little bit of a scouting here. Is he going to be able to get up the ramp? I can't imagine that he will, no. So that wall will go up. I think he could have dodged in there had he wanted to, but I don't know that he would have gotten the information that he would have needed to know that that starport was not where it normally is going to be. So this is going to go probably relatively unscouted, at least for now. But Blink Stalkers are going to be on the menu for Zoun, so hopefully he'll be able to help mitigate this. And yeah, it's going to be a nice little Hellion drop into the main, more than likely the main, since the natural's not quite saturated just yet. It'll be a matter of where those Stalkers end up posting.
Yeah, well, I think Zoun is kind of anticipating a little bit of this, or at least is prepping for the potential of something like this. As we're seeing the shield batteries coming down, the Stalkers staying in between the bases here, I do believe. So overall, you know what? It's not that bad for Zoun. I think he can make this work, but let's wait and see. The probes quick pull on those boys. Oh, lining them up though. Needs to be careful. Spread them out, okay? Spreading out a little bit more so, but this is becoming a lot worse than it needs to be for the Protoss player. 11 workers already go down, and there's still 3 Hellions remaining. Still gonna be able to one-shot those probes here, Rushy.
Yeah, Zoun has not protected this the way that he needs to, and 13 probes are going to go down for the cost of that, and that is really, really difficult damage, especially when your opponent's already up 21-9 on the army count, and he has a worker lead as well. Zoun's in a rough spot, and he can't afford to pull those Stalkers away, lest Clem come in and roast more of his probe line.
Yeah, that is quite devastating here, and Zoun, he is on his last legs, so, I mean, it's not like he can just tap out and be like, all right, well, that's unfortunate. A lot of workers lost due to the Hellion drop that I didn't quite see come in on the right spot. Yeah, I mean, he has to win this one if he does still want to have a shot. Clem, he's playing it safe. I like this kind of stuff as well, going for the bunker here. He knows he can afford to be a little bit extra safe, right? Doesn't have to take any risks, and that is basically what Zoun needs to bank on, right? Clem perhaps taking a risk at this moment in time, kind of overstepping his boundaries and trying to do some stuff which he may not need to. Losing a couple more units than he can afford, and suddenly, you know what, Zoun may be able to get a comeback going, but ultimately right now, I don't know if that's going to be happening for Clem. He's looking like he's just playing it safe, getting siege tanks, getting upgrades right now. Yeah, he's looking solid.
Well, what's the old Day 9 and Artosis adage? Win ahead, get more ahead, and I feel that's exactly what Clem wants to try and do here. He's not going to overstretch his luck. He knows that he's gotten some really good damage done, and it just wants to continue working on the backside back at home. So he's going to get that worker count where he wants it. He's going to build up that nice bio army. He's already approaching. Ooh, okay, that was a nice little snipe off. I was gonna say
it was a bit of a mind game right there, Rushy. He was trying to get the medevac attention on the top side of the map, so he moved it over there. maybe letting all the units from the front door move back into the main base and then run the Hellions through the front door. But the Zoun catching those Hellions, even with that medevac being there. Pretty cool tiny thing.
Well, it seems as if Zoun is feeling a little uncertain here because he is getting rather aggressive against this army composition, and he's down almost half the army supply of Clem. And yeah, Clem's going to see those stalkers and go, wait, that all you have? Cool. I'm just going to push across the map because you won't have much left back at home. So it's 3 more gateways on the way. We do have 1 Colossus on the field, a second one in production as well, and Zoun going to try and get out to his 3rd base, but he's got to make sure he's got enough army to shut this down. 3-4 tanks on the way and a pretty decent handful of bio. This is going to be a difficult push.
Yeah, there is a nice ramp area for the Protoss to hold, and the Stalkers have been able to delay this a little bit, not losing one there either, but they are getting a little bit low on the HP right now. I think this is the best shot Zoun has right here, this ramp area, but there's no shield batteries here facilitating a defense either, which, wait, there is one on the top side there, so maybe able to get something out of that one, but ultimately this is a very, very dangerous situation he finds himself in. A gateway falls, slowing down his production also. Oh, he's gonna go for it.
Yeah, the high ground is kind of working in Zoun's favor, but Clem just has so much right now, and he's going to keep shoving on forward and getting into that ramp area. The robotics facility actually very exposed right now. It's not going to go down before that final Colossus does manage to hit the field, so that is going to be helpful. But once again, 87 to 45 army supply, that is just a very, very difficult number to try and overcome without the use of disruptors. And now Clem is just starting his slow death push here forward. Zoun can't afford to allow this much damage to get done. He's going to blink on forward. Clem is just going to clean all of this up. Now the Colossi are exposed, and Clem gets out of this series 3-1, and he's going to advance on to the semifinals. We are going to have 4 Terran